One of the most common requirements in rendering data is the nested list. You effectively want a list of companies, but under each company, you want a list of the people associated with the company. Another example might be a list of product categories with a list of the associated products under each category. If you're familiar with any programming language, you're very likely already imagining a nested loop of do while or for next or something similar. But when we do this sort of thing with a database, we always need to be aware that database reads are most likely done from a physical disk-based storage device, and it's desirable to minimize the number of accesses we make. The main reason, of course, is these things are electromechanical and therefore much slower than managing data in a solid-state memory device. So if we find a company which involves reading from the database, and then we go back to the database and find all the persons from company A, and when we finish that, we go back to the database and find company B, and then go and find all the persons from company B, and so on, you can see that that involves multiple reads of the database. Let's use our familiar company people example to illustrate a better way. What we'll do is we'll use an SQL with an order by clause to fetch the entire data set. We'll then test each row to see if the category field, that is the company in our example, has changed, and then format a group header for the category field and render the people data on the page. Looking at this in real life, it's very similar to our select join demo we'd created some time ago. This time we'll load the snippet elegant nest as nestdemo.php and save this in the demo folder. I've collapsed all the components so we can see the structure of this file more clearly. We have some style declarations at the top, things we're quite familiar with. We have an SQL statement which is the key to this lesson. We have select fields from tperson left join tcompany. So immediately we know that it's going to list all of the records in tperson, whether or not they have a matching ID in tcompany. And we're going to order them by company name, company prename, company ID in case there's two the same, and then for all of the persons within each company, we'll list them in order of last name, then first name. We'll run the query and assign variables to our row data. As we cycle through this array that MySQL fetch array creates for us, we'll set person ID equal to the row associated with the array variable name, person ID, and so on. Then the logic becomes quite interesting. We set up a company header, and we say if the company ID is empty, that is, there's no company associated with a person in this row, then set company full name equal to unallocated, and set the company ID equal to 0. We've also started off this cycle by setting the variable current company ID to -1. And as we cycle through, we'll set the current company ID equal to the company ID of the person record that we're looking at. We'll then set up a header for the table that simply echoes the company full name. And then we'll set up a row in a table with the headings for each column. Finally, we'll create and format the rows for each person within the company and change the style for each alternate row in exactly the same way as we did before. The key to this particular script is the SQL statement left join. Let's save the script, find it in our demo folder, and run that. We now have a slightly different output for our companies and persons list. We've listed a list of companies, and under each company we've listed the people who are associated with the company.